Welcome to another Overtime show. Big thanks to Freya, Pimp and Maniac for closing out the desk just then, as we get to have ourselves some fun with the whole gang we got here. And as Freya said, Hunden has kindly come to join us. The smart player, the big brain, the coach, and maybe the man that didn't frag out as much when it came to all, if we were being honest on that front.
Yeah, that was not a good one. And not a good one as a coach as well, but like, I'm coming back now and I take it slowly and like just staying in the background now. That's a better way to do it.
That's what it's all about. Semmler, you always join us again?
I have made a return.
You're just here for the alcohol at this point, really, aren't you?
I don't know what you're talking about. It's been a hot day, James. It's been a hot day.
It's your week off, gym, you know? Get to enjoy the alcohol, the Overtime show with us. All the positives.
Just letting it all hang out, you know, having a good time.
I'm just jealous. I want this week off of not training or anything else like that. But Hunden, outside of like obviously what you've been doing with Heroic and things, what have you been up to? You've been enjoying this Danish weather? Been enjoying any football?
Yeah, a little bit of Denmark, of course, like it was said with Christian Eriksen, like.
Yeah.
But I think that was not a good one. But I think we played amazing against Belgium. I think we could have won that game as well, but yeah, we lost, and now we have to face Russia in the decider game. And if we win that one, I think we will go through as number 2. So that could be awesome, but I hope for the best.
Oh yes, Pimp.
Hey guys.
Welcome. How you doing?
I am good. I am hot.
Cool, yeah.
It's very hot in here. I've been sweating all day, but I'm good.
More ways than one, Pimp. More ways than one.
Yeah, I think I've lost 5 kilos in pure water today, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Got to keep that hydration up, man, from start to finish. But Hunden, you started it off right, talking a bit about your maybe not so good start to the coaching side of things. But I think one thing you got to look at is obviously you were a big brain, big leader when it came to not just Counter-Strike but the Danish scene in general. But like, how are things going now? Have you seen a kind of less negative effect, or is everyone still hating on you, throwing you under the bus a bit?
Yeah, I think it's a hard one to talk about. Like, I don't want people to feel sorry for me or anything. What I have done is done now. I think I need to look forward now. I'm of course really sad what happened on the server that day. But like, let's look forward and see what we have done with this coach bug. Like, we have done so much for now everyone on webcams. Like, we have stopped the stream sniping as well. I think we have done a lot of good things for Counter-Strike with this coach bug ban for all of us. So in general, I feel really sad for what I have done, but I can also see the good things that happened with this coach bug in general for online Counter-Strike. I know we go back to LAN soon, but we still have the Tier 2 and Tier 3 scene, and they need to be safe about playing online CS as well. So I think we need to look forward now, and I hope all the fans and viewers can do the same as I do now as well. Yeah.
I mean, as far as it's concerned, I mean, you served your time. Like, that's the thing. Everybody got the ban. The coaches that committed it, you know, came out, got caught, and then they got the ban by the body that we've decided is going to rule on these sorts of situations. You helped, so you commuted, right? You reduced the term of your punishment, I guess, from a year to 8 months.
Yeah.
But that's done, and I suppose now it's time to move on.
Yeah, I think it's like, of course I understand why it's hard for a lot of people to move on. The things we did on the server was not all right, like, but
yeah.
I took the punishment from ESIC, and that's what I can do. I cannot do anything else. I was not the one who told me to keep my job in Heroic. That was the old management of Heroic who told me I could stay here, and that's what I did in a role that was safe for the rules from ESIC as well. So I just did.
You were no longer a coach, right?
I was not coaching.
You were very much back admin.
I was behind the scenes. I was the analyst for the team. I did a lot of things for the organization as well. I was working a lot behind the scenes for the organization as well. So I did a lot of other things. But of course, I missed being on the server. I missed like feeling the wins, feeling when we lost as well. That was hard to stay away from that, because I could get back to the team after the games, and like, if we lost, I had to do some damage control, and that was a tough one. So I'm happy to be back now, but like, the 8 months was a hard one as well. It's hard to stay out for 8 months, that's for sure.
Yeah. You said you served your time, right? But I also saw you speaking to Danish interviewers about that period, you know, in your ban period. Some of the consequences that people may not be aware of, right? Could you try to elaborate a bit of some of the stuff you went through during that period? Because I know a lot of the Danish fans and a lot of the Danish population, they would look down on, of course, what you've done, but also the rest of the coaches. So what were some of those consequences you were dealing with, you know, off camera that we don't get to see?
Of course, I'm banded for 5 majors. That's a tough one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's not funny that we have the first major here in the end of the year. But in general, like some of the consequences, like I got so much hate. I started to become a pretty good name in Denmark, like with all the talents picking up them and like winning Cologne as well, fair and square. We didn't do anything there. That's like. One of the things we need to like say that we didn't do anything at Cologne. People still think we cheated at that one, but we didn't do it. So in general, like people hate me. Like a lot of people hate me. They cannot see I served anything. So it's still hard to be me. It's still hard for me to go in and watch the Twitch stream after the games to see the chat that Hunden camp is everywhere. Even though I was not even allowed to be on the server at Flashpoint when we won games, like it was still me on the server. So it's hard to be me, but I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I have done this, and I truly take it as a man, and I need to do that. That's for sure.
But how has it been for you, like personally, maybe also your family? I guess they must have been through with this hard period with you through all the way, right?
Yeah, for me and my son, I didn't want to go out of my door for I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks. I just wanted to stay inside. I didn't want to go down in and buy food and stuff like that. I was afraid what happened at my son's school as well. Like, are they going to say things to him? Are they going to do anything to him? It was not funny to go and pick him up from school. So in general, it was hard for me. It was also hard for my son and my girlfriend as well. But I survived this one, and I think I grow a lot in this period as well, as a human at least. So I learned something, that's for sure.
I think that's one thing that we really need to take, and I want to always put the emphasis on it as well, is that, you know, we have VSIC. There are punishments in place. The punishment's been served, and yes, it doesn't excuse the fact of the matter that something happened, but we do need to have a point where it's like, okay, there, done. Now let's move on and let's progress. And I mean, things are still looking up for Heroic. It's a fantastic time to be on that team. Cadian, we had him as a guest last time we were here in Copenhagen, and he was rocking it. He was over the moon, happy to be on the roster. I mean, how's it been working with Cadian, bringing him up?
It was a hard one in the beginning. Like
I bet. Yeah.
I love that. Bringing him up.
Yeah. Holy shit, that was a hard one. Like we started out with the team, like we just had a lot of strats. Like nothing was like set to anything. It was just like we do this A strat, we do this B strat. We have now 5 B strats. What is this, Kasper? Like we need to do something to make it work out in a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. We had to create a play style together. He's known to be a good mid-round caller in Danish CS. He don't like to have structure. I only bring structure. That
is kind of your style.
So, yeah, exactly. So we had to mix it up so he could still call in my system, and I could still like help him with his system. So we had to bring them together, and we had to talk a lot about how I want to approach CS and how he wants to approach CS. So when we do game plans together, it's just like he sees something, I see something different, and we try to mix it up. So that's also some of the things you have commented on when we have played Nuke, especially because we see the map in a different way. We don't have that many strats. We just play around the rotations and stuff like that, and that's how we want to approach the game. Like because we don't play the same Nuke twice on the T side, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. We always try to mix it up and try to get both of our playstyles into the server. And it's hard. It's a lot of work, and we have a lot of long talks every day about how we want to play Counter-Strike.
I'm sure, but is that in terms of like communication? You guys are on the same wavelength. You're able to communicate as adults on that.
Yeah, I think we both have
professionals.
Exactly. I think we have a lot of respect for each other. Like some of the things like Pimp also can talk about is like getting coaches who don't have any kind of experience for playing CS. They are not so easy to talk with. Like when you tell Jakob, oh, you did this mistake, and he was just like, did you play CS or did I play CS? Okay, I earn money, you don't. Like I think that happened on SK a lot with bad coaches, we can call them that, or with no experience, whatever they are. So I think all the 5 players on Heroic got a lot of respect for me.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of history.
Yeah. I want a deeper level of this story right now.
I've never said that. I just want to find that out. I've never said that.
Pimp, do you really remember if you said that or not? You know?
I'm pretty sure I did, but I agree. You know, I've played with my fair share of coaches who didn't understand anything of what they were doing, right? But I guess that's part of the involvement we're seeing with the coaches as well. That 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we didn't know how to define the role. Right? We're only getting to a point now where we're starting to define what a coach's role is, and I guess some coaches are different. You're a guy who have a system, you're a guy who are very much tactically involved in the game, and I see some coaches, without naming any names, that are just, good job, and that's their role, So there's different types of player management, different types of coaches, and I've always seen Nicolai Hunden as one of those guys who are tactically very much involved with the team. If you couldn't be that, you wouldn't be a coach. Like, you're not hired to just be, backpatting people and saying good job.
I'm actually not that good at hyping people. I learned that pretty fast as a coach. Like, going behind and give them a knuckle is just like, I'd rather just stay on my computer and focus on the game and don't go around and give them a knuckle and say, it's okay, Refresh, you failed this round. Like, give him a hug and stuff like that. That's not into me. We can do that afterwards. We can hug each other after the game. But when we are in the middle of the game, we focus on winning and we focus on having the right strats at the right time. So I think you hit it right. Like, we have different coaches right now. We have strong minds in Blade and Zeus as well. Like, he also played a little bit of CS, Sonic as well. Like, we have these types of people who is just like really, really strong at understanding the game, and we need more of them, I guess. And then the game will be even more perfect. I think this year have made Counter-Strike so perfect, like people don't do any kind of mistakes. They're so hard to play against. Like, it seems like we have 5 teams who is like close to the 2018 Astralis team. So that's just crazy to watch and play against sometimes, I guess.
I guess that this is where you and KDM work out perfectly, right? Because he seems to be, from what we see on the cameras, quite the hype man.
Exactly, and he's hyping all of them, and I try to like calm him down sometimes. And
save the energy.
Yeah, exactly. We save the energy. We are playing a best of 5 today, so we need the energy for the 5th map. And apparently we have played 2 best of 5s, and he's always shining on the 5th map. So he apparently have the energy every single time. He did it against Vitality and in the latest one against Gambit on Mirage. So that's just amazing to watch.
Solid stamina, man, for sure.
Especially against Gambit.
Yeah, that's a
like
grind.
Every round is going to take forever. Yeah.
Now, one thing, right, obviously going back into when you were playing, for example, you look at your style of playing and you didn't only find a lot of Danish talent, but like you did something that a lot of people wouldn't get away with now in terms of, like we joked about, in not being able to hit. Yeah, Pimp is included in that talent, so just a little bit. But in terms of like your fragging department, you were part of that old guard where necessarily popping off and having huge games wasn't necessary for you. Is that just because you can get the most out of the players you were working with? Is that a system you were able to find?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I was pretty good at setting up my teammates all the time. But I think we have a new meta right now in CS that all 5 players needs to deliver high numbers every single game. We see it on Gambit, we see it on a heroic G2 as well. Like, G2 had this issues with Kenny as well, not performing well for a long time. And he got replaced by Arminik, who was not even the MVP player, and he's shining right now. You just need 5 players to step up if you want to win in Counter-Strike in these days, I guess.
I guess for you, was that you already started to think like coaching is going to be the next step before you actually became one?
No, I actually think it came out of nowhere. Like, after we played Katowice in 2020, I felt like I was burned out. I didn't have more energy left. It was time to, and it was actually my biggest event ever. And we hit number 11 on the HLTV rankings as well. So it was the highest level of my own career, but I decided to quit right after because I didn't have more energy left. I needed to take a longer break from playing, and at that point I took my start as a coach, and it was pretty funny from the beginning.
And you also weren't young at that point either. When you said that's like your first big event, you got to where you want to be.
Exactly.
And you're already getting on a fair amount of years of playing since the Source days.
Yeah, I have played for 15 years at that point, and 2020 was the year I could start to shine. That was not. Maybe I was just really bad.
That's hard work. That's never giving up at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Let's talk about some of those talents you've raised, right? Because you're spot on. Like, in Danish Counter-Strike, you were known to be the guy who, like, Barry, for example, like just a less good version of you, I would say. Like a guy who never really made it, far into his career. A guy who never really made it to the top tier scene, but always found talent. You did the same with some of the biggest talents we have today. I remember you were the first guy, if I'm not mistaken, playing with Config. Like, what did you see in Config the first time you played?
That's a crazy story. Like, I was actually at that point I left SK, and I had my kid who was 1 year old at that point, and I was just like, maybe I should just quit now. And
what year was this?
Dude, it's been that long.
2015, I guess.
Recent gaming?
Jesus,
15 maybe, yeah?
That's gone fast. To me, it doesn't feel that long ago.
2015, and I was just like, it's time to quit now. I don't earn any money, I don't do anything, I just need to study and do my things. But I quit in May, and in June, 2 guys is calling me, and that's a guy called Yuki and Config, and they were just like, can you give it one more try with me and Config? Okay, let's give it a try. And like we were playing for fun, and we actually won against SK like 2 months later with that lineup. And from there, I just like then I got back to Copenhagen Wolves together with Glaive and Snappy, I guess it was. And from there, it's just like I got the full-time salary at that point, so I could just move on to Tricked and start build up talents all the time. And that's the way everything started, I guess. And Config was just like a special one. I have never seen a guy with so much firepower, so much drive to play Counter-Strike. He just came in with the fuck you mentality all the time. Come at me, I will fucking own you all.
You still got that now,
yeah, he still
definitely.
got it, and he's just like he was one of the most amazing teammates. And when SK called him like 10 weeks after we have played together, like I told him, I don't think SK is a good place to you. Like the mentality on that team, and you can talk more about that with Asilian and Freeze. It was not a good thing for anyone at that point to join that team.
But also something that he probably learned a lot from, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what something we talked about in the green room as well. Like the younger players today, they could really get some useful by playing with Asilian and Freeze to get some kind of the toxic level into the game. Like learn that when Kadian is screaming at them, it's actually okay. Yeah. You never tried 2 guys screaming at you, the same 2 words. So I think the younger...
Pim, you got the...
Flashback to my time in this game.
Oh,
I
God.
wasn't the best guy either, let's be honest, right? But there was some crazy moments in that one, and I agree. Like some of the younger kids these days, like if they get offended by someone saying you should have done that or you are a goddamn noob for doing this, like try play with those 2 when they were getting mad at each other, like when they were not agreeing on a certain thing, which was you could play a pistol round and one would die, one would peak, and the rest of the game was ruined because now they were in an argument, right? That was how.
Right.
Yeah, they came up with like the same thing. Okay, then let's just lose. One of them.
What?
Let's just lose. Whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's
But
go.
that's and to be fair to those 2, it's not about like shaming those, because a lot of people were like back then, right? It was so
it wasn't as
unprofessional.
disciplined.
Like you would just get into an argument and the rest of the game would be ruined.
I just love this because it's like ruining my my friends from in the past, or like my vision of like what they were, because I meet them at the after parties. Freeze, we got along great.
He's a nice guy.
Super nice
he
guy.
was-
Just chat it up, talk about everything. And then I've got stories of how he was just a total murderer on the servers. I never wanted to play with him. I was like, whoa, I never got that vibe.
I never
Okay.
grown as much as a person outside of the game.
Yeah.
When I was playing with that lineup in SK Gaming, it was like literally. We talked about that in the green room, right? It was Asilian, it was Freeze, me, and I wasn't the best kid either. Let's be honest about that. We had Muddy as well, who was a very...
Muddy.
He had a temperament, right? And then we had Magix as well when he was 16 years of age.
Had like
It's an ongoing joke, I think, in Denmark that could be the most toxic team ever to exist. We were fine. We did some decent results. We played at E-League. I think we qualified for a good team as well. And Liquid, brought me in after that one, had a good period. So I don't know how we managed to survive that, but I think we all learned a lot in that period.
Growing pains, right? That's what you can call it at that point.
Let's call it that. Yeah.
Danish CS, man. It's a hell of a ride.
I love this is brilliant. So, what's your worst story on him?
I actually don't have that many stories.
Oh,
We never got to play. Like, we were never on a team together.
But we were close to play on the team.
He was the one guy. He was this close. I don't know. He was pretty close bringing me out of retirement actually after.
all
after
right.
Liquid. Yeah. I was playing in Liquid and I skipped Liquid. I was growing, as you said, I was growing tired, didn't have any energy left, and living in Los Angeles, playing with a team which, let's be honest, back then I felt they weren't as committed as I were. There was some internal problems in Liquid, and when I'm sitting in LA and I'm going in 110%, and I look to my right and that's a guy playing World of Warcraft in the middle of practice, and I'm looking to my left and that's another guy.
In the middle of practice?
In the middle of practice. And doesn't matter. Another guy, showing up late to practice and don't wanna play. Like it was not worth it, right? So I went back home, took my break, and the first guy to try to push me out of retirement was actually Hunden. And back then, to be fair, it was you, it was Kadian, I believe, Asilian, and what's the last one?
Boop.
So if you look at those names today, you'd think that could have been a pretty good team.
Sure.
Back then, it wasn't good.
It was not good. It didn't work out well.
It wasn't. But that was close. Like I was actually close of coming out of retirement, and part of me think today that would have been nice to try to play with him, because you're right, like one thing, and I gotta be honest, I've said a lot of times to you as well that you were a terrible player on the server, and you were in many occasions in my young mind useless, right? But one thing you did super well was you always got the best out of your players. So I felt a guy with my talent, if I would listen to him and if I would respect him, he probably could have made me into something bigger than I am today.
Elevate you further,
Dude with glasses talking about Counter-Strike, right?
Awesome. You still had a pretty good career, Pimp, right? I won't take that away from you. So, Hunden, I've got this question for you. Who was the best player you played with, but they didn't reach their potential? So you're not like a player like... There's many players I see that, like, they have his peak and they can get there, but their laziness or their attitude or something from an outside messes them up and they just don't deliver to what the standard you would expect them.
Please say Config is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
No, but he reached his peak.
Yeah, no, but he had that down period where he
true.
Yeah. I think.
But I mean, like one who's dropped off. Maybe we don't even know the dude's name, but he saw and goes, "That guy could be like one of the best in the world."
I actually think like Yuki, Yuki, like he was.
He got hyped up like crazy when he first came.
He came from Tricked, and I was looking at his stats the other day. I think it was almost 1.40 rating or something like when he played in Tricked. And then he gets to Heroic, and he's actually shining pretty much. And then he gets ill, I guess. He's out for 2 or 3 months. And when he gets back from that period of time, there's nothing left. But some of the things that, like, he got the firepower, that's for sure. But he never started to study the game. He never started to become good at what he was not good at. He was never good at clutching. And when you're an MVP player, you're going into a lot of clutches. We see that on Zero and Cadian as well. Like, you need to be good at clutching. But he never started to study the game in that way. And that might hit him really hard today, because you cannot win on firepower anymore. You need to like have all the grenades, have everything set, and that's one of the issues from him.
And I have to jump on the opportunity though, because when you say, okay, you need to train to become better at clutching, like just real quick, like how would you?
Yeah,
how would you train to become better at clutching?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Or am I throwing you under the bus there? As if like that's not something you just do reps?
No,
for?
but you can understand how you play your clutches. Like learn from every clutch you lose. Like see the players you are playing in front. If you play in front of Zero, you know he will never take the defuse the first time. He will always fake defuse, because like that's the player he is. And understand and study your opponents. That's what he could do at that point, because he was playing for Heroic. He was playing against the best teams of Europe every single week in Pro League and stuff like that. So he had his time to do it, but he just wanted to focus on being even better with the AWP. And he was good with the AWP. I can guarantee you that. And he's still good with AWP. He just like needs to study the game if he wants to get
details.
Back. Exactly, he needs the details. And you need the details if you want to be the best AWP player today. That's for sure.
Okay, what about then? So that's like the player that didn't make their potential. What's the best player you like scouted out, started working with, and they're now at the highest heights?
I think there's 2 guys, and one of them is Acor.
Yes.
Acor, like what a beast.
Mechanically, God mode.
We started 1st January 2019. I picked him up from I don't know where, Golden Kid or something. That was a Danish mix team. I don't know. Crazy
Someone's
name.
mom's name.
Okay. And he was not even MVP player when we picked him up, but we needed him to play the MVP. We saw he was a secondary MVP on his mixed teams and stuff like that. So I started to work with this guy, and like in the beginning he was a bit lazy, but we started to work with that. Like get up in the morning, do something different before you meet up to practice, go for a walk, go do something. Like or watch a demo, do something. If you feel prepared for practice, you're ready to practice. And like he worked so hard with this MVP, and after 4 months I was not sure if this was the right one to play the MVP, but he took me by storm afterwards. Like we played Copenhagen games, made it to the semi at DreamHack Summer, like, and now he's playing for mousesports, and we can all see that movement he got. I think he's by far the best guy with the best movement in the world right now. He's just amazing, and the way he's working really hard, and he's easy to work around because he's a guy who's just saying yes. And yes, I will look into that. I think you're right about everything. So he's not working against you, he's working with you, and we are working together about everything.
He sounds humble.
Yeah, he's really humble, and he's a nice guy. He's calm, and he's just like a really good guy.
But do you think that's a problem? As of right now, we see him in mousesports, and I would agree with you. When we saw him in Mad Lions with you in particular, he was stunning, right? He was a fantastic AWP player, but now he seems to struggle a little bit in mousesports. At least he hasn't got going yet. And you're saying like he's just saying yes and yes and yes. Do you need Like, do you need more personality as a Counter-Strike player today in order to thrive, and especially in a big international team? Is it okay just to be this silent guy who just say yes?
I think it can work out. I think it can work out on a team like mousesports because they have so many young players. All of them needs to learn. Still, like they have Frozen, they have Acor, they have Robs. If you had that core with those 3 players, like never ever leave the team. Like what Carrigan have done is like, I think it's one of the worst moves I have ever seen. Like you have the core with Frozen, Robs, and Acor. I think they are the 3 most talented players you can have right now in the scene. And I think that core can go in and be a top 1 for a period as well. If they can get Dexter to call a little bit better, like get more into the groove of understanding European CS, I think they have every single key to make success.
Okay.
What do you make of Dexter as an IGL actually?
I actually think they are learning pretty fast. Like they are playing my dream. They're playing all 7 maps. They're fucking crazy. Like, they play every single map, and you cannot see what kind of map you can pick against them right now. They are a really scary team to play against right now, and I don't want to meet them right now. That's for sure. I think they're one of the favorites to win Cologne as well, because Robs, I don't know, he's a monster. I don't know. The way he's playing, he's not even buying, like, he has some issues as well. Like, he's not buying every single nade if you watch him play.
Yeah.
He's not using his nades. Like, he's just running around with the AK and killing people. It's crazy to watch, and I think they have so much potential. And in 1 year, they're going to, like, I think they can be the team to win 3 majors in a row.
What do you make about FaZe Clan and Carrigan then? Like, you said that was a big mistake. What's the status on them?
I don't think there's any status about what they're doing right now. Like removing Coursera, I'm not sure what went wrong there. I maybe think he could go to Furia. That could be a good opportunity for him as well to get back to where he is coming from. And then we have the rest of the team. I still think they need some kind of new energy into the team. I think Brokey is really good with the AVP. He's a bit defensive, but I think he can learn to be a better AVP player, and he can learn to be a part of the meta of the AVPs right now. And then we have Carrigan. Carrigan is amazing at what he's doing. He don't have that much firepower, but he's working on it. He even said that in every single interview lately, like 2 hours of deathmatch every single day. He's trying to get back to the level we saw 3 years ago. But we can also talk about like the age. Is he too old now? Like, what is the issue with them? Like, they also have Olofmeister. Where like Olofmeister and Rain, they haven't showed anything for a long time. Are they good enough to be in a top 10 team right now? That's the big question, and it's crazy to say about Olofmeister, right?
You got me wondering now what the average age is for them. It's got to be around like what, 26 or something like that. Brokey's bringing it down, but the rest of them are all close to 30 now.
Other than Twist. Twist must be what, 24?
Yeah, I think so.
Like
they also
that.
have Twist.
Yeah, that's right. They've got Twist now,
like,
so he might have brought it down.
I feel like he's a talent.
I'm not even kidding, but
25.9.
But the first
25.9, 26.
The first 2 weeks of practice with that FaZe team, Twist was killing 40 every single time we met them.
Yeah.
That's the most crazy thing I have ever seen.
So we were literally talking about this yesterday with Anders, like, because it's just dropped off the cliff. So what's going on? Why do you think Twist has dropped completely? Because he had that 40 bomb on train that was insane.
Yeah, but he also did it in every single practice game.
Okay.
Like, so, I'm not even kidding. He did it every single time. I was just like, okay, now we also lose the FaZe boys.
Twist is only 21. Twist is only 21. Yeah, it feels like we've been talking about him for ages. That's why I thought 24 was like the right age.
Is he only 21? Wow.
Yeah, they just told me in my ear, so I'm going with that. I'm rolling with it.
He's 21.
21.
So he replaced me in Liquid. He must have been 17. 18.
Yeah, he was pretty young when he replaced you. Yeah, that's true.
Wow. That's nuts on its own, right? So,
but maybe it's too much structure. I don't know.
I mean, Carrigan keeps talking about how he needs time to implement his system.
But normally,
so in the last interview I did with Carrigan, he said that like he feels like he's had enough time now, and this is now on him. Like he's not happy.
Yeah, but I think like normally Finn always have this honeymoon period where they're winning the first 2 tournaments, and then things starts to fall apart. But this time it's different. It's different. Like maybe they just need a few more months, and then they're ready to win the tournaments. Maybe he do it differently this time, and I hope they will get back, because Twist and Brokey, they deserve to be on a top team. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what you think when you think of that roster.
Yeah.
We talked in the green room. We talked about certain coaches, and I guess from a coaching perspective, like which one of your colleagues do you wouldn't say respect the most, but which one of your colleagues do you think is the better coach or the best coach as of right now? Like you talked about Blade having insane preparation, you talked about Sonic maybe having a bit of both in terms of both being a motivator and preparation. Like who's the best coach outside of yourself?
It's always hard, like you talked about, like it's hard to say what the coach actually do because we have no clue. Like I could also just be a fist pump guy, go around, oh Kasper, you're really good at what you do.
They exist, trust me.
Can you please say that I'm also good in the interviews? Yeah, okay, we talk about that. I have to say you're good next week. Okay, we are good to go now. So
They exist.
yeah, that's how it is, I guess, at some teams. But I actually think I think Blade is by far the best tactical coach. Like he's on point. The preparation, like we haven't actually beat Navi with our team right now. In 2020 and 2021, we always lost to Navi. We have never won against them, and they have done some amazing preparation. We can see it after the games, like they're always on point when they play against us. And I also think he talked about it, the HLTV confirmed, that they were lucky last time they met us. So I think he also got the respect for us, but I think he's like, I don't understand why he got so much hate on Twitter a few weeks ago from Foreign and Richard Lewis. I was surprised.
Blade?
Yeah. Because
Blade got heat? What?
Hey,
Yeah.
you can see that?
No.
Yeah.
What was
There
that?
was a lot of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of it, and I was just like,
For what?
Richard
Because
just
Blade
thought-
just did a one-on-one with Duncan not long ago.
Yeah, I think Richard was. To be quoted correctly or not, you might remember it better. But I think he was saying that he was like not the coach they needed or not doing enough for the team to give them what they needed. But at least, obviously, I spent a lot of time with the Navi guys out there, and he has a pretty strict routine with it all. But he's also even looking at like the Navi junior team, for example. Stuff. He's got. I feel like at least from when I speak to him and what I know, Blade's got a good mind when it comes to the game, but maybe he doesn't have what he needs to get the pieces of actually following it all.
What I find really interesting with Blade is I was listening to that Thorin one-on-one with him and Blade, and when it started talking about the players, it was very obvious who he could talk about. Because he had a lot to say about certain players, and then other certain players he was like, oh, he's coming along, he's doing better, But some players he was just like, man, that guy, he needs to step up, like just some players he would talk very freely about.
So you've got the untouchable god, and then you've got the other four?
Yeah,
Is that what you're basically saying here?
not so much. So I don't know, as a Blade, but yeah.
That leads into an interesting question from my point of view for you as a coach, right? Because we talk about what the coaches do, but how much responsibility do you think you guys have on your results? In the sense that, let's say Heroic is not performing over the next 6 months. Of course, you're looking at the players, just like in football. Your defender's not working, your attacker's not scoring goals, but it's always the coach getting sacked at the end of the day. How far are we away from that in Counter-Strike? Like, how much responsibility do you feel you have on your results?
Oh, a lot, actually. I actually take charge of a lot of the losses we have when we are not on point, like with the meta and stuff like that. We don't have the right stretch set. Like I take it, and I'm not afraid of saying like this was my guys. We didn't do a good game plan before the game. We got owned this time around. So I think it's different from team to team. Me and Kadian is in charge of a lot of the losses if we lose. Like we say it's our mistake. If we can see the players also have done a lot of mistakes, like we are pretty close to each other on our team, because like if Shus do some mistakes, he will open-mindedly say to the team, okay, I did these mistakes in this game. I'm sorry about that. But you don't need to be sorry about it. We just need to fix it so we don't do it the next time. And if we do it the next time as well, then I might start to say something to him.
Then we kick him.
Yeah, then we hate him, and then the next step
you
is
send Pimp to kick him.
exactly. So I think, yeah, we can do that.
He thinks that could be an option. But I have to. Sadly, I would love to keep this going.
No.
I would love to keep this going, but I've already been way over time on this. We can sit here and talk to you. I know. You can talk to him afterwards, right? It has been a pleasure with you, Hunden, by the way. It's been the fastest episode that's gone so far through. So thank you very much for all your time with that. We do have to round up. We do have to get ourselves ready for another day. It's the grand final day here at Blast Premier. I know, I'm sorry. I hate to be the evil guy, but we have to end it here and now. Maybe we'll bring Hunden back another time as well. Thank you very much for watching the Overtime Show. We'll be back tomorrow. It's the grand final day, and you know what's going to happen. Now they're going to get this lower bracket one, and they're going to win the whole thing.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
Cut.